Welcome back to Fox Business In Depth. Well, too many educators throughout the country are pushing the idea that socialism can solve all of their students' problems, but history shows it simply doesn't deliver. The 20th century was the best of times and the worst of times. On the dark side, as many as 270 million citizens were estimated to have been killed by governments that described themselves as socialists, on the left and the right. On the bright side of the 20th century was the success of free market capitalism, which helped lift well over 1 billion people out of poverty. So why do so many scholars condemn capitalism and lean into socialism? Even the brilliant free market economist Tom Sowell started out as a Marxist. So what changed his mind?
Facts. Before I was a Marxist, I was an empiricist, and I stayed an empiricist. And with the passing years, as I looked into more and more things, I saw the difference between reality and the rhetoric. Unfortunately, so many people today, including in the leading universities, don't pay much attention to evidence.
A recent survey shows a large number of college students prefer socialism to capitalism, with almost half praising oppressive countries such as Cuba over the U.S. Our own Brian Brenberg saw it firsthand as an economics professor. Why does socialism still have the pull for so many college students?
College is a place where it's one of the only places where bad ideas can keep living because they never get tested against reality. So professors, they study these things. They love the ideas of what socialism promises. They never have to do them in real life. They spend their academic career filling kids' heads with these ideas, kids who got to go out in the real world.
6 years ago, I asked Tom Sowell if we'll have to suffer through socialist policies before rejecting it.
I do have a great fear that in the long run, we may not make it.
Well, let's hope this is one of the few times Professor Sowell is wrong. Joining me now is campus reform reporter Emily Sturge. Emily, great to see you.
Wonderful to be here.
I'm going to embarrass you by reading something that you wrote earlier this week. You said if you walk into a college campus today, students can quote Karl Marx's The Communist Manifesto, but if you ask them about the Constitution, you'll get blank stares. You go on to quote a campus reform study showing that 62% of young Americans nationwide say they view socialism favorably. Why?
I mean, it's just the truth. And we've been reporting for over a decade at the Leadership Institute's campus reform that the higher education system has been indoctrinating young minds with these socialist ideas while demonizing capitalism. But you don't have to take it from me. I can point to some specific course examples. Harvard University, for example, offered a course called Marx at the Mall, where they taught students that capitalism and consumerism resulted in climate change. The University of Maine offers a socialist and Marxist minor that teaches students to challenge a capitalist worldview. And so when you dig deep into these core syllabi, look at what students are actually learning in the classroom, it's no shocker that Zoran Mamdani just won 75% of the youth vote
And
here.
it's no shocker when you look at the diversity or the lack of political diversity among the faculty of these colleges. We can put that up on the screen. It's extraordinary. I mean, they basically come from one viewpoint.
Absolutely, and that's what students are learning in the classroom. And if we want to reclaim our education system, if we want to reclaim Generation Z and promote ideas of freedom, we need to be hiring the best and the brightest professors to teach students history, critical thinking skills, instead of this leftist worldview, because that's what we're currently seeing in the education system.
But they bought into it. The idea of free buses and free care for your children, rent freezes. In fact, I think we have a quote of a rent freeze, or at least a poll of rent freeze. Most people in New York, young folks around the country, think that rent freeze is a good idea when people who know the subject know that it just leads to less housing.
Absolutely. But are you surprised? This is the generation that was raised on participation trophies. And now I'm seeing my peers embrace. They see free stuff. They think it must be great. Meanwhile, we know it's disastrous. I'm not shocked by it because I've seen university campuses commemorate and even glorify communist dictators. I think of the University of Florida, named a study space on campus after Karl Marx, but nowhere did the University of Florida teach students that Karl Marx was responsible for an ideology that killed over 100 million people.
Or the positive aspects of capitalism. Does anybody teach that more than 1 billion people during the 20th century came out of extreme poverty because of capitalism?
Well, we absolutely should be. And the Department of Education, looking toward America's 250th birthday, is actually investing in universities, putting our tax dollars in universities that promote a patriotic American education. I think that's a great use of our tax dollars. Over $150 million that the Education Department is investing in schools like Florida State University to study the founding fathers there. Florida International University has a great center for capitalism there. We need to be putting our tax dollars into schools
Speaking
like
of
that.
tax dollars, what about the money we spend on lower education, on K through 12? We're not getting any return on investment. Look at this. Nationwide, it costs about $17,000 to educate a student, but look at what you're getting for it. 27% of 8th graders are proficient in math. The reverse of that, of course, is that you have a vast majority of folks who are not proficient in either math or reading.
And civics. We see a lot of students throughout this country who are not proficient in math, reading, and civics.
Yeah.
I'll point to Florida as a case example. I'm from the state of Florida. I know that my state has a civics literacy requirement. Before you go off to college, students need to show that they are proficient. They know landmark Supreme Court cases. They know how our government works. And of course, that goes back to K through 12 education. We need to look at reforming that too.